Sometimes when times get tough, it's hard to have faith that good things will happen. Especially when we're in these dark places. Because all we're doing is worrying about the future. We're worrying about what could go wrong. So today we're going to talk about how to have faith, and we are getting started right now. I was in prison, and I was in the hole, which is the prison inside of the prison. I was down there for a tattoo violation, and I was down there for 2 months, and I was about 2 weeks in at the time of my 2-month stay down in the hole. And the hole is it's already a very depressing place. It's dirty. There's not a lot of light that comes in. You're trapped in an 8x10 cell. Like literally you could take 3 steps this way, turn around, 3 steps the next. You get 3 meals shoved in through a chuck hole in your door sent to you a day, and you get 3 showers a week. 3 showers a week. And you get very little to no human interaction, and you're just stuck down in this place because you chose to put yourself down there, and it was tough. And I'm 21 at the time. I'm 2 years into my 4-year stay. At the time though, I didn't know when I was going home. I haven't seen the parole board yet and haven't been given a release date. I had a 7-year sentence. So I'm 2 years in, 21 years old, a complete knucklehead. My whole entire life I wanted to fit in with everybody else and be accepted by everybody else. So I'm down here in the hole just being an idiot, wanting to fit in with the cool people in prison and getting into trouble and stupid things like that. And I remember they come and bang on my cell door, doof, doof, doof. And I'm like, what are y'all here for? The police, man, I ain't got nothing to say, man. Go to the next cell, man. I'm down here for 2 months, man. What the hell y'all want to talk to me for? And they're like, Mr. Babcock, cuff up. You got to go see the captain. And I'm like, for what? I ain't got nothing to say. I ain't got to go see no one. They're like, cuff up, Mr. Babcock. So I put on these they put these cuffs on me and these shackles on my feet that just dig into the back of your ankles, the metal. Oh, I hate shackles, dude. And they start leading me to the captain's office. We're walking down the dirty hall, all the other prisoners in there are yelling out, "Yo, Babcock, what's up, man? What they taking you down there for?" And I'm like, I don't know, man. I ain't got nothing to say, And they lead me to the captain's office after we walk down there. And I remember getting in there, and he's sitting in there at his desk in his white shirt with his gold badge and his black hat. And he's like, "Mr. Babcock, have a seat." And I'm walking in there, ankles hurting, like, but for what, man? I ain't got nothing to say, man. I'm down here for 2 months, and then I'm going back to the yard. I ain't got nothing to say. What you want to talk to me for? And he's like, "Mr. Babcock, how long have you been locked up?" I'm like, 2 years. And he's like, "Well, when you come back to the captain's office, it's not good news, right?" And I'm like, it's like, dude, I don't care, man. I ain't got nothing to say. I'm thinking in my mind that somebody told on me for something that I hadn't gotten in trouble for yet, or they were trying to get me to tell on someone else. And I'm like, I ain't got nothing to say. And he says, "Mr. Babcock, we received a call this weekend from your mother, and she informed us that your sister passed away from a heroin overdose." And, I didn't know how to respond to that. I'm thinking of something, there was the last thing in the world that I'm thinking was my sister just passed away. And I remember my vision just going down to nothing. And, my vision just, it went blank. And then, I don't know how to explain this feeling, but it was like adrenaline. It was like, and I started shaking, and then just out of nowhere, just tears started flooding out of my eyes, and it started, I was in shock, and then they gave me a 30-second phone call to my mother. 30 seconds, that was it. And, I got on the phone with her, and she's crying her heart out, and she's just like, and I don't know what to say to my mom, and I'm just telling her that I love her and that I wish I could be there. And then the phone call got turned off right at 30 seconds, and then I went back to my cell, man, and I felt horrible because my mom, I just lost my sister, and it crushed me, and then here's my mom that's dealing with losing her only daughter and her only son's locked away in prison. You know, so I couldn't imagine, you know, how that was on her, you know, because I have kids now, and I couldn't imagine losing one of them or one of them being in prison and stuff. You know, it would tear me up. So I get put back in a cell by myself because I said I didn't want to go back to a cell with my cellie. Cellie is a roommate. I didn't want to go back in there with my cellie. I wanted some time alone, you know. And I got put in a cell alone for the next 3 days. I didn't even leave my bed to eat. I didn't eat. I didn't leave my bed. I sat there and I cried and I prayed, and it was just like, it was just in a really dark place. You know, it's already depressing down there, and there's just nothing to look forward to. And I had 2 months to go, or a month and a half, before I was even going to be released to the regular yards where I could go outside and do activities and stuff again. And, you know, I couldn't talk to my family and nothing, and just, I'm trapped in the cell, and all I'm thinking about is memories of my sister and all the things that I wish I could have told her, you know. And it was just eating at me, you know, and I didn't have much to look forward to. I didn't even know when I was going to go home. You know, I haven't seen the parole board yet. And on that 3rd day, though, something came to me, and I was like, you know, I'm still here for a reason. I don't know what that is, you know, and I don't even know when I'm going home, but I'm still alive, and, you know, there's got to be some good that comes from this, because it can't get any worse, you know. And I had to have faith. I had to have faith in something, because it was either that or sit there and just deteriorate and just be in misery. And I didn't want to feel like that anymore. I had enough desire where I wanted something better, and it was hard to have faith. So I started developing a routine down there, and I started cleaning my cell every day after lunch. Like, you know, I'd get up in the morning, brush my teeth, all that, read, you know, and talk and read some more, and then the lunch would come around. And after lunch would come around, I lay down on my bunk, and I lay on my back and let my food digest and just sit there for about 30 minutes. Then the nurse would come around, make her rounds, and ask if you needed anything or whatever. And after the nurse would come around, then I would clean my cell. And how I would do this is, you know, we had 2 towels given to us, because we got 2 baths a week, or 2 showers a week, and we had 2 bathing towels. And I took one of my bathing towels, and I ripped it up into a bunch of mini rags. And I took one rag, and I get it nice and soapy, and I'd scrub my walls with it. And I'd take another rag, and I'd scrub my sink with it. Then another one I'd scrub the toilet with. Then I'd get down on my knees and sweep the concrete floor with my bare hands and gather up all these dust bunnies into a pile. Once I got them into a pile, I'd take some toilet paper, wad it up, get it damp, and then smash it down onto the dust bunnies and gather up all the dirt into the wet toilet paper and flush it down the toilet. Then, after that, I'd take my final rag, get it nice and soapy, wring it out on the concrete floor, and get down and scrub the floors until it was shiny. And afterwards, you know, I was feeling good about living in a squeaky clean environment. It made me feel good. And after that, I would immediately go into doing my my workout for the day. I'd do a bunch of push-ups, dips off the back of the bunk, burpees, jumping jacks, any type of aerobic or calisthenic exercise that you could think of doing with your body weight in an 8x10 cell. I would do that every single day. And that made me feel even better, because I was releasing natural endorphins in my body. I was living in a clean cell. And then, you know, dinner would come around, and after that, I let my food digest, and I'd read the Bible, because I'm not like a real, I'm spiritual, you know, I believe in God and stuff, but I'm not like a Bible thumper. I don't push religion on anybody. I don't go to church, and I don't read the Bible normally. But when I was down the hole, I needed something to do. And we had these old Western books that just didn't interest me at all, and other books that were just so boring and just whatever, it would put you to sleep, and I couldn't even hold my attention. So I chose to read the Bible, and what that did for me is I was feeding myself with these uplifting scriptures. You know, I was feeding my soul with these scriptures, and it gave me hope in a time where I really needed it. And over time, over that month and a half, I found a peace of mind in a really dark place. And I had faith, though, that, you know, that things were going to get better. And I was looking forward to, at the time, just getting out of the hole, you know, and being able to talk to my family and stuff again. And that came, you know, and I was able to have faith in this time where I really needed it. and it helped me make it through a really dark time. Fear of the future causes us to cling to the present moment, but faith in the future renders us perspective to change. So when you're afraid of the future, when you're worried about something, and you're just thinking of all the bad outcomes that are coming, you're going to be resistant to change. It could even paralyze you from taking action. But when you have faith in the future, when you have desire for something more, when you believe and just have that hope, faith, whatever you want to call it, it allows you to be able to take those steps necessary to change. Now, the best way to implement this and to have faith is to use your imagination. So that might sound absurd to some people that are unfamiliar with this concept, but think of it this way. We use our imagination all the time. Before somebody was able to make this camera, they had to imagine making that camera and how, to put it together and how it would work and all that. That's with anything. Everything's first created in our mind and then created in the physical form. And we use our imagination every single day to create things, to create our own future, and we use it most of the time in a bad way. So if you ever worried about something, or ever scared of something, like worried that you were going to get chewed out by your parents for a bad grade, or worried that your business plan was not going to come through and that you wouldn't have the money, or worried about your children getting hurt, or worried about anything. If you've worried at all, you've used your imagination, but you just use it in a negative way because you're imagining things that haven't happened, but you're imagining the worst case scenarios most of the time. So if you could flip that and use the imagination and visualize yourself being successful or attaining the object or the desire that you want, you can use your imagination in a positive way, and it helps install faith and belief. And I've used this in a number of different ways. Like when I had to go on a podcast before, it was my first time, and I was nervous and just scared of all get up. I never had an interview with someone before where I had to answer questions, impromptu questions, and give good value with the camera on me. This isn't just like, practice, nothing. It's just off the cuff, off the fly, what they're gonna ask me, what I have to say, and I'm on camera. That for me, it was nervous doing it the first time. And I remember visualizing every single night leading up to it for about a couple weeks leading up to this interview of me just answering any question that they could ask me. I knew it was going to be something to do with personal development and overcoming adversity, and I was imagining all these different questions and just calmly and confidently answering these questions and giving value. And of course, when the time came for the interview, I didn't even get answered most of the questions that I imagined, but the fact that I rehearsed this in my mind of myself calmly and confidently answering these questions and giving value, I crushed it. I mean, like, I crushed it. That interview, like, smoked it, and it was so valuable, and I was like, wow, and it was my first time, and it made me feel good, and I believe 100% it's the main reason why I was able to do this, because I practiced, I rehearsed this in my mind before I went and did it physically. If this video has helped you in any way, shape, or form, and you want to watch more videos about faith and living effectively, then check out this playlist right there. And if you know anybody, like literally anybody that's struggling with having faith, that's just going through a tough time right now, please share this video with them. You never know what this message could do for that person. And as always, if you want to reach your potential and crush your goals, you can start right now by hitting subscribe and tap the bell notifications. That way you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, my winning friend, and I will see you next time.